Guys, so we're here today to talk about loading, right? So we introduced levels last time, and levels are fantastic. The trick with levels is that most people don't fall straight down the board into one category, right? Some people may be great runners, maybe great lifters, maybe good at body weight, maybe good at squats, but not presses. So we need kind of some additional information to help you pick the right load and level for each workout. Now you might go, well, what do I care? I'll just guesstimate, right? And you can ignore it, and like you'll cap out workouts, or some workouts will be too fast, and you won't get the intended stimulus. So we'll talk about this in a few days, but each workout is designed to have an intended stimulus, right? You're supposed to get things out of it. We're training energy systems and pathways and muscle endurance, all this other stuff. And we're trying to balance it in a way to get the maximum results with the minimum input. If we don't pick the right levels, we're not going to get maximum results, and we're going to have to work harder to get less, which is not ideal. Now, loading kind of instructions basically fall into a couple categories. You'll have, so when you're doing like external loaded stuff, we'll look at things like kettlebells or dumbbells or barbells. It's going to have a designation of super light, light, moderate, moderately heavy, heavy, or super heavy. And those run from something you could do 30 plus of up to something I can do 1 to 5. It's not a perfect science, right? You're still gonna have to kind of guesstimate on that, but it gives you some kind of concept, and you'll start to figure out, at least for a bit until you improve, where each one of those falls for you, right? And it's a huge difference in a lot of cases, right? Between something that's light and something that's super heavy. Way back when, we had a group of people that did 35 pounds for everything. It doesn't work very well, right? So they would 35-pound barbell for something that required them to do 5 reps, and 35-pound barbell for something that required them to do 100 reps. And then they would complain that the light workouts were too easy and the heavy workouts were too hard, or vice versa. Actually, it's vice versa there, right? Because they never changed it up. So this gives you a way to kind of guesstimate. And again, it is guesstimation, because there's no way I know what I could do 30 plus of. But I do have a good idea what I couldn't do, and I go to the level right there. And it's a little bit of kind of guessing, but it gives you some more ways to accurately guess. Now, when it comes to bodyweight movements, gymnastics movements like pull-ups and push-ups, and things like that, and even box jumps, there's not a great way to lighten the load for a workout. Like, we have some ways to do it to strength train for pull-ups and push-ups, but in a workout, there's not a great way to do that. So what we do is we go, hey, pick the number. So they're scaled by number. So instead of like one workout might be 50 pull-ups, say, it might be 25, right? And we do scale difficulty on something like pull-ups from kip to chest to bar and things like that. But it'll be broken down rather than into reps, into sets. So you want to pick a level you could do 1 to 2 sets with, or 1 set, or 3 sets, or whatever it is, right? Those are done in sets. And that helps you go, if it's definitely I have to do it in 1 set, maybe I can't do that, but I can do this. Now, if it's 1 to 2 sets, I could probably do it in 1 to 2 sets there. I'm at that border, right? So that gives you instructions on which one of those to do. That's the one that gets most often ignored. People are like, well, I want to do all the pull-ups, but it's going to take me 6 sets. And that's a really good way to improve very slowly, right? So pay attention to that. Pick the right level on that. You'll be great. The last one comes down to time. There's one more. There's one comes down to time. Usually for a run, sometimes a bike or a row or something like that. And it's going to vary based on the distance we're running or biking or whatever it is, but it will generally say, do something you could do in 3 minutes, right? So if it's a 500-meter run that you want to max out at 3 minutes, so if your 500-meter run time, you don't think you could handle it in 3 minutes when you're fresh, that's too far of a distance. And if you do that, it's going to become more of a running bias workout for you. Now, sometimes you might be on the cusp of it and you're like, I could probably do it in 3:10. That might be okay, depending on the workout. But that gives you some guidance even on the running. The other one is kind of, we use as calories on the bikes and the rowers, right? Those will have scales on that, but those will tell you time as well, right? So that's what you want to look at. Like, what's my time on that going to be? Here's where my cap is. Here's what I'm thinking, right? Because that's the easiest way to tell running, biking, and that is based on what can I do in X amount of time. All right. So it's important, again, one more time, that we pick the right level to get the right benefit and maximize results, whether it's weight loss, whether that's strength gains, or whether that's just general health, right? We want to get the most bang for our buck. And to do that, we need to pick the right level, and loading instructions help us do that.